Right is Steve Kenson, who is the lead designer of the game. So we're going to do some jibber jabber, and then we're going to do a Q&A. So let's jibber. So as you probably know, we launched the Kickstarter a week ago, and we met our funding goal in 54 minutes, I think it was. And we're now somewhere in the 260,000. So it's going real good. And we've got some fun stuff to announce here, including some new stretch goals and things.
You will be the first.
That's true. You're going to learn secret things.
Tweet them.
Yes.
You could be president.
Probably do a better job.
Maybe too soon.
As I bet many of you know, the origins of the Expanse, there's a gaming origin to the Expanse. And we'll talk about that a little bit, but I thought it might be fun to actually talk a bit about the gaming backgrounds of the folks up here. So, Daniel and Todd, you want to talk a little bit about your sort of gaming histories and the sort of stuff how you got into it and what you like and that sort of thing?
I'll tell the story about how I got into it. What I was thinking about the gaming. You gotta want the microphone loves me.
I came up with the idea of Expanse initially as a pitch for an MMO. The company that asked for the pitch didn't have $100 million, and so they didn't buy it. So I kept it and turned it into a tabletop game. And then some people played in the tabletop game and liked it. One of my players was George R.R.
And did he say, hey, let's collaborate? No, he did not.
He did not. And then one day, Daniel and his wife played it.
And then I said, my God, you've done all of the homework. You should just write a book. I said, okay, we wrote a book. We thought we would sell it for pizza money. Certainly, when I got into tabletop gaming, though, was way before that. When I was 12 years old, I got horribly ill. I recovered. But I got the flu, it was terrible, and my parents gave me aspirin to control the fever, which turns out was a terrible idea, never do that. And so I got a little better, and then I had a little relapse, and the doctor was saying, oh, well, there's this thing, it's called Graves syndrome. He's brain may slow up and he may die. Let's put him in the hospital a bit. He didn't tell us any of this. He just said, be careful, make sure, if he starts hallucinating, let me know. So I went to the hospital, and I got in the elevator, and I went up to the children's ward, and like a giant rat handed me a room. So that was weird. Turns out it was Chuck E. Cheese. And I was in the hospital when I was bored, and my grandfather worked in a camera shop across the street from this store called Orient Fest. And he brought me Tunnels and Trolls. My first game was Tunnels and Trolls because it had a whole bunch of solo adventures. You could play it by yourself. Yeah. Nobody else was in the hospital with you, so.
Buffalo Castle.
Yeah, no, I still have the Dungeon of the Bear in my office, even as we speak.
Fun. Yeah. Ty, how did you get into playing RPGs and such?
I knew my parents would hate it. So I grew up in a very religious fundamentalist house, and so of course D&D was up for devil. And I was like, that sounds awesome. So I listened to a lot of heavy metal and played a lot of D&D to piss my parents off. But then I realized I was actually playing it because I kind of liked it. And it wasn't just about pissing my parents off. And so I kept doing it as an adult.
Nice. Yeah, I have an unusual origin story in the era where people were freaking out because there was fundamentalism and the satanic panic and all this stuff. My mom read an article about D&D in like Parade magazine or something like that, and it was like, oh, this is something that college students are doing. And it's, wacky and creative. And my mom was like, you like fantasy books. What do you think about this D&D game? And then we went to a hobby store and bought the D&D white box. And then 40 whatever years later, here I am. What's you, Steve?
For a while, I don't know what happened to it, but I actually had the original chainmail pamphlet.
Oh, yeah.
It was basically just like a little 32-page booklet or something. I had one of those. I don't know what ever happened to it. It probably worked like that.
I saw a copy for sale today.
Yeah? Actually, yeah, where there was like 3 spells. You were a wizard, you had access to 3 spells.
I got started on the old gray box Gamma World that I came across in a bookstore, and I was like 12, and begged my parents to buy it for me, and they did, just to shut me up, I think. I just devoured the whole thing, and convinced, I talked my classmates, friends at school into playing it with me, basically. I took them to a women's game, and basically set myself up as game master for life at that point. And pretty much have not been allowed to actually play a role-playing game since. So.
I'm looking at some of my players right now. Because same. So one of the nice things about this deal for us is that Ty and Daniel have a gaming background, so they actually understand what it is that we're going to do, and like are in fact enthused about the idea of there being a role-playing game. It's not just like, yeah, sure, make a T-shirt, whatever. It's like this is a thing we all have a background in.
Will there be T-shirts though?
What's that?
Will there be T-shirts?
We not have merchandising rights, so
There are Expanse t-shirts available right now on Redbubble if you just don't like working cards.
So yeah, the way this all got started on our end is Ty was on Twitter one night, talking about the idea of an RPG, curious if any publishers might be interested, and of course, many publishers were interested. We put our hat in the ring, and I had known Ty and worked with him when we were doing our Song of Ice and Fire role-playing game, because he was working for George R. R. Martin at the time. So for a couple of years, I guess it was, Ty was the person I was sending manuscripts in for approval and running art by and all that stuff. So we had a bit of history, and I think that probably helped us.
Plus, I knew you guys were going to be an attractive game book. So, I wanted something that looked nice.
Yeah. So we were able to make a deal, and then as part of the process of negotiating it, the idea of doing a Kickstarter came up, and we decided that would be probably the best way to do this and really kind of harness the enthusiasm of the fan base. Then there was the interesting moment where the TV show got canceled. And to be clear, like our deal is specifically for the books, not the TV show. So, you're not there's no skills from the show. You can't use your ship designs or any of that stuff. But for a moment, it seemed like, well, we might be able to further harness the angry power of this. Saying like, show the suits how much you want the Expanse by backing the Kickstarter. So now you can do it in a more loving way.
You want these to Bezos?
What's that?
The quick start, are you going to ship them those to Bezos?
I did, well, actually, you can tell me if this would be okay. I have joked about the idea of having a reward tier that was called, "Hey Jeff Bezos, I hear you like the Expanse," for like $1 million. And his reward would be helping a small business in the Seattle area.
Wow.
I didn't want to cause homes for you though, so. I didn't do that. So anyway, so we made the deal, and then it was Steve's job to start putting together the game itself. And do you want to talk a little bit about the design goals and things like that, Steve?
Sure. So to clarify what Chris said, basically, we made the deal that I was like, I want to design this. Like, I really want to work on this. And so obviously our goal was to create the most Expanse, recreate the Expanse experience as a tabletop game. Daniel and Ty were very helpful in that regard, especially since Ty had really direct experience in actually running the Expanse as a tabletop game. And could really speak to what that experience was like and what he felt were the sort of central elements of it. So we started with the Adventure Game Engine, which is a system that Green Room has used successfully in a number of different tabletop games, and including one licensed Dragon Age game. And as it so happened, we were in the process of developing Modern Age, which is now available for sale at the convention, as a modern iteration of that game system. And that worked really well to our advantage because we had already started doing a lot of the development work to adapt Age to a more or less fantasy and more modern type of game experience. And the Expanse itself has a lot of modern, because it's hard science fiction, has a lot of resonance with the more modern approach we're taking rather than having sort of a space opera type of feel to it. So the sort of gritty mode that we set up in Modern Age adapted really well to the Expanse. And then it was really a matter of adding some particular game mechanics that reflected the style of the books themselves, focusing on things like fortune for characters to both deal with the various hazards that they could encounter that might harm them, as well as giving them a bit of an edge to survive, and the necessity to balance those two. Am I really going to improve this next die roll, or am I going to really make sure that when I walk into the lobby of this flop house that I'm not shot and killed? To build out the various other game systems like ships and ship combat and specific hazards that you encounter in space and all that sort of thing to round out the system.
Right. And there's some stuff in there, like you may see another game that would have like siege engines in it, and here's the damage that happens when you get hit by a catapult. Whereas in the Expanse, in the spaceship combat section, it's like, if you get hit by a PTC, you're dead. That's just how it is. There's no numbers attached to it. So here's the show. We have the Expanse RPG Quick Start. This is a 40-page booklet that has base rules, an adventure, and 6 pre-generated characters. PDF is free online. We've been using that as we've been doing the Kickstarter. But because you are literally the best people, because you come out tonight, we have a couple boxes of these in the back. So at the end of the seminar, if you present your ticket to the lovely Malcolm back there, hello, you will get a free copy. And if you already bought one, give it to a friend.
Well, I did that. Yes.
Because who doesn't like food? Speaking of the Kickstarter, our exciting announcements tonight revolve around new stretch goals.
Twitter.
That's right. Yeah, we're in the 260-something thousand at this point, and stretch goals go up to 280 right now. We've been unlocking a series of adventures to create the first campaign for the game, something called Abzu's Bounty. So that'll give you sort of a full-on adventure to start with when you're playing the game. And so that, we've unlocked 5 of the 6 adventures now, and the 6th one will unlock at 280. So then the question is, what's after that? So at $300,000, we are going to open up a new reward tier that is going to cost a goodly amount of money, but you get something super awesome, which is that these guys will write some flash fiction about a character that you make up.
Your character.
Yeah. So if you want to have the awesome Expanse write 200-300 words about your Expanse character, they can do it.
This is true.
You have that power.
You have
Yeah,
that.
that power.
So, you know, that's super fun. And then the $400,000 stretch goal is that they will write a new short story that is set during the period where the game is set. So the game basically takes place in between the first novel and the second novel, because there's a gap between the events of those. So that's sort of our starting point. And so I believe you said new story in that era, new characters.
It's about a 5,000 word short story set in the Expanse universe, canonically part of the book series, and appearing, I believe, in the core rule book.
Yeah.
So.
We thought this would be like good motivation, you know? We all want to see that. So, we can hopefully get up to $400,000 and beyond. We've got like 3,600 backers now, and I know there's a lot more Expanse fans than that. So yeah, that is sort of the broad strokes of what I want to talk about. Unless you guys have something else you want to throw out right now, we could start the Q&A section. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? All right.
In the back. You mentioned early on the original gaming setting, that you've done the research all ahead of time. What was some of the research? What did you use for your research?
You mean about like the solar system?
Yeah.
I just like to read. So
Okay.
I was always kind of an astronomy nerd, so you know, any Nova episode that came out about our solar system, anything on PBS about the solar system, I watched it. I read the books and got the picture books of all the various moons and planets, and obsessed over details like Ganymede has a magnetosphere, how weird that is, and like little stuff like that. Io has giant volcano. So when I was doing the Expanse, I wanted those places to be places, because of course when it was an MMO, all of those, I don't know if you guys would know how MMOs work, but all of those would be instances, right? Like I'm going to go adventure on Io, and that's an instance, and you go there and things happen on Io. So I had to come up with excuses to go to Io. Like what would be on Io that anyone would care about? So just started trying to figure out what stuff would you put on Ganymede, what stuff would you put on Io, what stuff would you put on the moon? Why are people there? What's the value of it? What's the economics of it? And that stuff on it.
All right.
Is there any plans to print that campaign that's being
Yes,
worked out?
yes. Yeah, this will be a continuing line. We're starting in that time period, and then because there's very major changes as the setting goes throughout the books that open up opportunities for different styles of adventures, then we'll be covering those in future books. The adventure we will print, it was just for the Kickstarter, We want to limit the print products to just the core game and the GM's kit, so we could finish them quickly and ship them, and then everyone would have the game. We didn't want to either wait around till the adventure was finished to ship everything, or ship people things twice, because then you have to pay shipping twice, and shipping is terrible. But we will release it through our usual channels, so you get it from your local game store, bookstore, or off our online store. Other questions? Yes, sir.
About how much of the setting that you're creating, how much of that rule book is rules, and about how much of that is setting?
I'd say it's probably pretty close to about half and half. I don't know exactly, but yeah, I'd say it might probably be a little bit, if we're including like game advice and how to run the game and that kind of thing. It probably runs about half and half in terms of rules versus setting. Fortunately, the age system is a relatively rules light system for the most part, so it doesn't, occupy a vast volume of space.
I was kind of curious about this timing. So, had you guys already written the game before the Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Oh, so you did the Kickstarter basically for the production of the physical objects?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I thought maybe you were in the process already. I didn't realize it was done already.
Well, so the crowdfunding has kind of changed the game industry in a lot of ways, and in the early era of Kickstarter and such, it was possible to just go to Kickstarter with an idea and a few pieces of art and be like, hey, we want to do this thing. Do you want it? Yes or no? And I liked that because you could float things. If people didn't want it, hey, you didn't spend any time or resources making it something that people didn't want. But as the years have gone by, and there have been some very high-profile failures where lots of people lost money and were disappointed, people have become a little more reluctant to back things that they're uncertain of, and they just feel more comfortable if you can show them more. And so we decided we really want to have the game, mostly done by the time the Kickstarter came around. There's just like a couple of minor things with stretch goals and whatever, but for the most part, it's all done. And then hopefully this new short story. So, yeah.
So given the popularity of live streaming tabletop games right now, do you put any consideration towards that in designing the Expanse RPG? Like, what are the opportunities and challenges for live streaming this game?
I don't think we didn't do any specific design work with that in mind, although we certainly hope that there will be streaming of people playing the game. I have talked to some people who do streaming who are interested in doing something. We haven't made any specific deals yet, but I'm certain it's going to be a thing because it's good for us because if you can watch someone play the game, it's easy to learn how to play that way, and as well as being entertaining. I suspect you will see things in that regard, but so I think Steve had any.
No, we didn't really design towards live streaming specifically. I think that's an interesting notion, but I think that you're just starting to see that idea crop up in tabletop, and you may see more of that in terms of design now because live streaming is becoming so popular. But it's still, I'd say, a pretty traditional tabletop game in a lot of regards.
But like when we did Titan's Grave with Will Wheaton, one of the reasons he chose to work with us and to use that system is that he really liked the system and thought it would translate well to a show, which it really did.
So selling a tabletop RPG in a set world of fiction, how are you designing the scale of this? I.e., are you picturing your players kind of staying inside the confines of the universe as it is, or is the toolkit basically there so that the players can, completely change what the solar system looks like if that's what your imagination so takes them?
Well, we thought about implanting chips in the game that would monitor what everyone did, so that we could really crack down on that. but it proved to be kind of cost prohibitive. So, no, I mean,
Got a good quote from Prototype.
right? Yeah. They're playing those works. They're totally those works. But no, actually, we very explicitly say in the game mastering section of the book that one of the great things about the RPG experience is that it's yours. It's your universe. Once you step into it as game masters and players, and you can do whatever you want. We're going to present a snapshot of the Expanse as it was at that time, and say here are all the starting conditions. But beyond that, it's all up to you and your players, and we talk about how to kind of follow along with canon and not create too many ripples that are going to change the outcome of things in the books, because it's a big system and there's lots of room for other things to be going on, and not every event is universe shaking. But we also talk about how you can just completely upend things, and I believe there's one sort of side discussion about the notion of, hey, maybe the proto-molecule does hit Earth. Then what?
One of the things that I think is worth considering is the role of canonicity and what canon does for a story, which, in my humble opinion, is not much. My experience of the Expanse is that we have retold this story as a game and as books and as a TV show, kind of the way you retell Batman stories.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all good stories. So if your version of the Expanse doesn't match my version of the Expanse, that means it's gotten bigger and it's awesome. So the more that you diverge from the books and turn it into something that's different and cool, go with God.
I want to see the Batman 66 version of the Expanse.
That's a tier level I'd back.
New stretch goal. I want Amos dance fighting.
And of course, we say like it's set in this period. If you want to set it in a different time period, well, we're not going to stop you. If you want to
On the contrary, we're going to start giving you things you can do about.
Yeah. So like if you want to immediately, do a campaign that's like, we're calling this going through a ring gate into an unknown system, and that's the campaign.
Or if you want to do the first Independence of Mars.
Yeah.
That's
that'd be kinda
there's
cool.
a lot of history in there that can be mined and played with, and sure, go for it.
Yeah.
There's lots of opportunities here. The point here is not to lock you into the story we told. The point is to open it up so that you can tell your own stories.
Let's go all the way.
Have you considered an organized play system for the Expanse?
It's hard. Like organized play systems require an awful lot of time and resources, and like a continual flow of adventure material and all that. And for a company of our size, like such a thing is difficult. I'm not opposed to the idea, but we would really need to figure out the logistics of how we could make that work at our size.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, what is that? What is that?
Like Adventures League, D&D Adventures League.
Pathfinder Society.
Cult of Chaos.
Sponsored game play.
Support is sent to the store to help people get into it. So the support makes it to the players from the central place,
That's
so that they.
a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, depending on the system, like you have characters and, you can advance them as you play games in this environment.
When I was growing up, we never had
It's sort of the granddaddy of these things is the RPGA, if you know, which was the Role Playing Gamers Association. And they had a very complicated system with things called certs, and so anyway, like it's cool. It's it provides great sports stores, but there are constant needs for things that we are not quite in a position to do right
I
That,
think that's a no.
now.
I may be hearing it wrong. I really
that said, though, we are, looking to provide very robust adventure support
Yes.
for the game, so that there are plenty of adventures for you to play.
So, I know this kind of dovetails into what you've been talking about, but I know you set the game in between the first and second book, and I know probably why, spoilers and stuff like that for lots of reasons. But I'm much more interested in what happens later on. Is there plans to release?
Oh, yes.
stuff?
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
Steve has.
I have.
Yeah, so the idea was to do a series of source books, that address, the major events that happen later on. And because these guys are real good at blowing up their setting every couple of books. You can start with a campaign of one style, and then one day, bam, everything changes. Rocks fall from the sky.
It turns out they were all raccoons. From the beginning, we just didn't tell you.
Space records. Yeah. So yes, that is our.
Not the Angry Space Records, that's not.
Yeah, and we also, we want to explore, obviously spaceships, big thing in science fiction. So, we're probably the next book after Abzu's Bounty will be like a spaceship centered book with lots of deck plans and things like that. Yeah. Because who doesn't love spaceships?
So I know in some sci-fi role-playing games, when you play as a pilot character, you're sort of locked into only piloting skills.
Mhm.
Sort of thing. When you're outside your ship, you're kind of useless. How does your system deal with that?
Well, basically, for those who aren't familiar, the age system is primarily driven by what we call talents. Talents are three-tiered abilities that focus on a particular theme, like piloting, for example. Basically, each tier unlocks a particular ability that the character has. Characters, as they grow over time, will develop a lot of different talents. Usually starting characters will only have 2 or 3, and more advanced characters will either advance in their existing talents or pick up new ones. But generally speaking, it tends to result in characters being fairly well-rounded for the most part. And because the talents are largely special focuses of ability rather than just sheer competence, characters in the Expanse and the age system tend to be fairly broadly competent. We don't assume that characters are just terrible, at things. And for the most part, the system is designed with a sure, why not, give it a try attitude of, can I do this? Yeah, make a roll. As far as most of that goes, because characters are using their basic abilities to accomplish most things. There is in the quick start, there is a character who has the pilot talent. You can take a look at her as an example of a starting character who's a pilot, and she's pretty kick-ass. So I think that you'd find her very competent outside of the command deck of her ship.
And the way the spaceship combat stuff works, like there's some games that are like, oh, well, the pilot's having all the fun right now, and you're kind of watching, hoping your ship doesn't get blown up. But there's things for other characters to do as part of spaceship combat. So there's like electronic warfare and things like that.
We're posting the combat example of the Kickstarter at some point.
Yes.
So you will have a long and perhaps familiar example of spaceship combat that shows up in the Kickstarter that shows how it works in the game, because I took a scene from one of the books and basically mapped it out in the game.
We've got the quick start, yay, I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
But for those of us who are anxious to get deeper into the game, how soon will we have the Kickstarter backers at least have the PDF, even if it's not a artwork complete PDF available to them?
Probably, I want to say October. We may, I guess, do it in a PDF that's not artwork complete, possibly in September, but certainly by October.
Thank you.
Other questions?
So you mentioned that this whole Expanse universe came from your RPG campaign. Was that a campaign that you also wrote a system for? Or were you using another system to run that?
I used the bones of D20 Modern, the open source D20 Modern, because it was free. It was on the internet. And I didn't want to use D20 Future because it's terrible. So I pretty much just used D20 Modern and then wrote my own spaceship rules using sort of the same kind of mechanic that D20 uses for things. But obviously it was kind of hodgepodge, and no one else would have been able to run it because kind of half the rules were in my head.
Are you still running that game?
No, I haven't for a long time. No, actually, writing the first book kind of killed the game. I think.
I don't think it was writing the first book until it was that we succeeded and then we anticipated it. No. You can spend your evenings playing the role-playing game, or you can do it, spend the evenings completing the contract that you've written for the publishing company. One of those will make people happier than the other. I hope at some point we actually stop working and play games for the rest of our lives.
That is my goal too.
I seriously believe there is a business opportunity for retirement homes for gamers.
Oh, hell yes.
Like, get a bunch of people who like to play games, like, great, we got time now till we get it. So, it's time to play the Battle of Austerlitz. All right, other questions?
Are there any features of the age system as opposed to any other system that you think is uniquely suited to the fantasy setting? And was there ever any consideration of creating a system specifically for
We discussed internally whether or not we would use one of our other existing systems or create a new system or the like. And the things we liked about the age system are that the system is simple. Character creation is very straightforward. The modern age iteration is such that you essentially come up with your character's ability scores, and you make a choice of background, profession, and the character's motivation, and you're basically done. And we really liked the stunt mechanic in the age system because it's very narrative and it's very exciting, and it produces a lot of the unexpected twists and turns of the fiction with a minimum amount of prep work and design so far as that goes, because stunts come up in play rather than having to be pre-planned. So that said, we did definitely make some tweaks to the system to make it more Expanse-like, like the fortune mechanic for a character's survivability, adding various conditions, adding the churn mechanic that essentially builds up tension over the course of the game based on some of the things that the characters do, and that essentially the better things are going, the more worried the players should become. Because it usually means that something terrible is about to happen at some point. And so things like that were done with the Expanse in mind. But the age system's main virtues, as far as this goes, it's light, it's straightforward, it's easy to play, and most importantly, we've already had a lot of experience designing for it.
Yeah.
So it was something that we knew would handle things well.
Yeah. Sort of let us start on second base instead of right. Yeah. The stunt system, if you're not familiar with it, it's sort of like the killer app of the age games. So when you're rolling to do something, you roll 3 6-sided dice. 2 of them have one color. The third one, which in this game is called the drama die, is a different color. And if you succeed on something and you get doubles on any of the dice, you get a number of stunt points equal to the result of the drama die. And then depending on the sort of scene you're in, you have like a little menu of cool things you can do. You can spend those points any way you want. So like in a combat situation, we had 5 points worth of stunts. You could do 1 5-point stunt, 2 2s and a 1, 3 and 2, whatever. And then you sort of pick the effects and then narrate like the cool stuff that you did to pull it off.
And there are age system stunts for every different kind of situation, from combat stunts to role-playing stunts and social encounter stunts and the like. My favorite new category for the Expanse is spaceship combat stunts.
I was wondering if you're still gonna have the level caps that you had in Dragon Age. I can't remember if you still have them. And then I also wondered what kind of character classes you're gonna develop. And if you could play people that maybe have been invested or anything.
Well, I'll take the last bit first. There are actually game rules talking about what happens when you get infected with the proto-molecule. It doesn't end well. And so no. But as far as the level caps go, I'm guessing you might be referring to the way we release Dragon Age in sets. So no, the Expanse book will cover the full range of levels that characters can attain as far as that goes, which basically is up to 20th level in the context of the game. Modern Age and the Expanse do not use character classes. Characters are generated completely from the decision of origin, which is basically what faction you're from, your background, your chosen profession, and your character's drive, which is their motivation. So there are no character classes.
Yeah, basically with the fantasy versions, Dragon Age and Fantasy Age, there are 3 classes, warrior, wizard, and rogue, and with modern and with the Expanse, like in modern you might have supernatural powers if you're going to do urban fantasy or something like that, but a lot of the games aren't going to have them. So when you're down to only 2 character classes, what's the point? So we decided to just make it classless and let you just kind of build out the character you want now.
Oh, fun hint for those of you who are game system hackers, because modern and Expanse are totally compatible. Things like the weird psychic powers from modern, you can use them in Expanse if you want to. We're not going to.
Yeah. Other questions?
You said that you're going to be using the system for the modern age degree for the degree of your combat. It's going to be relatively quick and brutal, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. So modern age, because it needs to emulate like a very wide variety of things. You can essentially use it for like industrial revolution to near future, historical or urban fantasy or what have you. It's built with 3 modes of play: gritty, pulpy, and cinematic. And so rules will differ. We color code them in the rule book, so you can say like, oh, we're using gritty, so it's this color. So they largely relate to like how easy is it to die. So they're in the gritty mode, like getting shot, like you could die. And then your characters get more survivable until the cinematic one is basically like movie action heroes sort of stuff. That's how that works. And then because the Expanse game is a specific expression of a setting, we picked the mode that seemed the most appropriate. So.
But again, from a rules hacking perspective, if you want to borrow the pulpy and cinematic rules from modern age and use them, no charging chip.
If you want to do Wahoo Expanse,
go for it.
You?
I was wondering if Daniel or Ty had any advice for prospective GMs and players of the game, just to help your game feel more like the books or even the TV show? Like any specific narrative elements or gameplay mechanics that would really help kind of make the feel of the game feel more like what you guys put in?
I don't know. I know I have a very specific sort of philosophy to running a game, and that's players should always know what they want to do. If you read the books, the characters are often confused about what's happening, but they're never confused about what their goal is, what they're trying to accomplish. And so, I mean, if you want it to feel like The Expanse, just make sure the characters, what is our goal? We don't have any air on our ship, we have to go find some. Like, that's a really understandable goal. And nobody will be confused by that. Now, it could be happening in the context of all kinds of crazy, somebody's being killed over there.
It wasn't pretty.
And slowly. So I mean, that's just my personal philosophy. I think it shows up probably in the plotting of the books too. I don't like when characters spin their wheels.
The other thing, I mean, this is not necessarily even from a role-playing thing so much as a storytelling issue. Suspense is better than confusion. Wondering what's going on is not as interesting as wondering what's going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't mistake being obscure for being suspenseful.
Yeah, West.
Are robots human? Answer no. Next.
Yeah. Oh, and I just wanted to say, in terms of what Ty brought up, you know, that we reflect that in the structure of the game by placing some emphasis on both drive, which is basically the quality that decides what is the thing that makes your character take action, and talking about character goals, and what are the things your character wants to achieve, and setting long and short-term goals for your characters. You create them in both and adjusting those goals as you play them. We talk about highlight points where you might want to change or revisit your character's goals. So a lot of it is about, you know, those things that make the characters and therefore the players say, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm. And right in all the age games, when you make a character, there's what's called goals and ties. And so goals can be short or long-term things that can change over time. And then right when you're starting the campaign, you know, you talk about ties between the different player characters. So it's not just like, you just met at a bar, you know. It's like,
You look like a player character.
Yes. Let's go to Ganymede.
So, given that, what would you say the drives are of the cruisers?
Well, it depends on the situation, doesn't it? I mean, there's a long period where the drive of the crew of the Rossi is trying not to have their ship repossessed.
I think it would have started with don't die in space.
Don't die.
Like Holden, for example,
driver.
if he was a character, on his character sheet, what would his drive be?
I think Holden's got an unrealistic wish for fair play. That the universe should have rules, and that everybody should follow them, and that if everybody had the right information, they would all make the right decision. In spite of enormous evidence.
The joke is that the whole Expanse project is about what a pain in the ass is to have a paladin in the party.
He's going to do the right thing again, isn't he?
That's just how you live your life.
But he's very consistent in that. And no matter what the situation is, he always is trying to find the fair solution, the solution where the most people live, the most people don't suffer. And often it causes problems. But he's consistent. I mean, Amos's drive is make it to tomorrow. Right. And his goal is about that far. Right. You know, Naomi's, I think Naomi more than any other character, her drive has changed over the course of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She started out just trying to hide from the world, and then switched over to trying to save it. So yeah.
One last question? I don't think we've heard from you.
For you two, other than the obvious, we're much busier now, how has it affected you two having others now dipping their fingers in the world in an official sense? I mean, not just with a TV show, but with, you know, you find yourself proofing adventures or proofing, you know, approving of whatever, you know, comes down the pipes. How has that affected the two of you? Is it like inspiring or frustrating or?
I mean, honestly, it is just about busyness. I mean, I'm a pain in the ass. I work in the writer's room of the TV show for about 4 months out of the year. And I'm argumentative and surly. And when they do stuff that I don't like, I get loud. And I don't know if Chris has noticed yet, but I can be a pain in the ass probably with his project too. I mean, he's going to send me stuff and I'm going to hate it. And, you know, send angry letters back. But, you know,
communication is better than no
but I want things to be my way. And so there's my drive.
And on the other hand, it also goes back to canonicity. This has been a project that's been, for me, collaborative since I stepped into it. None of this has ever been something that was solely mine, or in which I had a sense of that kind of complete ownership. So for me anyway, expanding the collaboration in more and more axes and in more and more ways has been pretty natural.
Laura?
And that's it.
Thank you for coming.